Hello, hello. This is Paper Cuts Included coming to you live from the Ninja Turtle sleeping blanket, and that's I know it's legit. Today we are going to be looking at Dorohedoro number 2 for Manga Monday. If this is your first ever Paper Cuts Included video, we are a comic book YouTube channel dedicated to what we love, and what we love is comic books, babies. It's run by me and my two co-hosts. All three of us are working artists, and we want to talk about just comic books, comic book art in general, artists. We break comic books like this down to the atoms. We look at each panel like a piece of because each panel is a masterpiece, so we break it down. So if you're looking for a channel who does break down artwork like that, gets into the nitty gritty, gets into the artist history, gets into what kind of pens they're using, what kind of pencils, what did it influence, what influenced them, then you're in the right place. We post Monday to Friday, every Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. without fail usually. Yeah, I guess this is our first video back from the 4th of July break I did. And is it good to be back? I posted Saturday before this, and that was supposed to be Friday's video, but I lost track of time, and Friday turned into Saturday. But now we're going to be looking at Dorohedoro Volume 2 for Manga Monday. Every Monday, or we every Monday while we're looking at a manga, it will look over it. Usually when I finish a manga, I take about a week or two break in between them, but not this time. We will probably be looking at this volume for 2, maybe 3 weeks. Usually, how I do it is this is going to have a bunch of stories in it. I usually cover 2 at a time. I feel like that flows really good with the manga, and it allows us to kind of talk about it more in depth and not a giant overview at once, if you know what I mean. But no, I guess before we get into that, I like to do this thing called "Is it successful? Is the cover successful?" What I mean by that is, one of the ways you should sell your books is covers. If you have an amazing cover, that can turn into amazing sales. I know people who only collect comics for the covers, so you got to have a good cover. You got to have, don't have a boring cover or people are going to walk past it. Have a cover that's interesting, inviting, something that's gonna get people to stop and look at it. You know. Now this one's a little bit different because it's not the original cover. This is I guess it is the original cover for this format, but Dorohedoro appeared in a magazine format where each of the, I guess, chapters we're going to look at they were chapters that appeared in the books or in the magazines, weekly, monthly, probably weekly. So yeah, I don't know how manga works in Japan. Besides, magazines, then get into these. Then if these get really popular, they get in those big ones like how you see Berserk with those leather bound ones. But no, we're going to be looking at Volume 2. If you haven't watched our look at Volume 1, it's really good. I really like looking at it. This is one of my favorite mangas of all time. Probably tied with Akira for my favorite manga. So let's get right into it. Which we're going to start with Spell 7, The Night of the Living Dead. So that's kind of how they do the issues, or the chapters. They're called spells. Because in this crazy world, it follows the story of Kaiman and Nikaido. And Kaiman's trying to figure out who turned him into the monster he is, with the help of Nikaido, as they fight against hordes upon hordes of sorcerers, trying to figure out who done it. So this one actually starts with a colored beginning. In the first volume, about halfway through, we had a colored segment, which I thought all of them would kind of follow. So I was very surprised to see that it begins with the colored variant, and it looks really good. Whenever we talked about the colored one in whatever video that appeared in, I don't know what part it was, I kind of didn't like all the colors, but I feel like the artist Q, has really improved on her coloring skills. I just like this segment a lot better than the other one. I don't know if it's maybe the colors are a little bit more toned down and less wild than the other one is. I just don't know. I find it really interesting and very creative. Q is an artist who thinks out of the box and does interesting compositional work, like all good manga artists do. If you want to read a good black and white book, or if you want a good book with really good character growth, really good character arcs, really good just compositional work, look at some mangas. Mangas are really good at that, and I wish people would give them more credit for that. That's a great panel right there, showing the two figures. And she's really good at drawing anatomy. But no, look at that. And I know she has had exhibitions of her work, and I wonder like what all was in it. Like, were these kind of a part of it to show off her, more fine art skills? Because I would love to see like that. If anyone knows where you can get like a exhibition book, let me know because I'd love to look at that. You know. Oh, and it's I guess the color part is a really great like reintroduction. If this is where you're starting from, you kind of get the story, which is cool. That's a great panel too. The coloring is really great, and it's kind of a limited color palette too. So this isn't even the first chapter; it's just a small montage. So yeah, it's probably just done to reinforce that hey, if you missed issue 1, this is what's going on. And what they would be if this was weekly, this would be the week 7, or if this was from the magazine. Someone tells me this might be made for this book, maybe I don't know. Oh, I'm having horrible heartburn right now, guys. Ooh, ow. But no, spell 7, the Night of the Living Dead. Oh, the color continues. So we're Nikaido and Kaiman. This is Kaiman, and oh, that's Nikaido right there. A great little panel of her. Great panel of Nikaido or Kaiman and their doctor friend that Kaiman works for. And one of my favorite stories in this book is turns out one night of the year, all the dead come back to life, zombie style. And they have to go kill them. So I just think that's really fun. I think it's just a really fun gimmick. So think about stuff like that. What can you do, in your own art and stuff like that? you know and then we get to see some of the almost antagonist, I guess, because this book also does a really good job of the antagonists aren't really the villains. Like, I get both sides of the struggle. This is N and his sorcerers. The sorcerers, we don't know who put the spell on Kaiman and turn him into who he is. All that they know is that some guy's killing all the sorcerers, so they're trying to stop him. Whereas Kaiman's killing them, trying to figure out who turned him into what he is. So you get both sides, and I really like that in this book. I like how there's not really a clear villain. I think it makes it a better book, and you can, kind of relate to the characters more. You don't want to see either of them get hurt, either side, So that's, yeah, I just lost my train of thought completely. I'm sorry, this heartburn's killing me right now. Whew, gonna play through the pain though. But no, it's just, yeah. Let me get past this page, and maybe that'll help me regain my thought process. Whew, that heartburn. But no, yeah. No, I am totally spaced now. I am so sorry. But no, we're just getting more and more, just in this panel alone, we get really good just character growth. And it might not look like it, but look at the body language. Each of them has very different body language. And that's a gimmick I think more artists should remember, is you can tell a lot from a character just by body language. How do they stand? How do they sit? How do they relax? Just stuff like that. Like we get an agitated body pose, a very kind of no F's given, and then a very mopey body language. And I think that's just important. Think of how your character would stand. How would they sit? How would they open a door? And stuff like that can go a long way in people kind of connecting with the character. So just write it down. Like, if you're creating a comic book, how would your main character sit? How does he sit? Does he put his leg over his other leg? Does he have his arms crossed? If he stands up, will he have his hands in his pocket always? Just think of stuff like that. How does that work? And now we get to see Noi's magic. Noi is one of N's cleaner. N is this guy right here. And he is kind of the godfather of the sorcerer world. And Noi, Shin are his kind of top assassins. And Fujita is the poor, unfortunate schmuck whose friend got killed by Kaiman in the very first chapter. And that's Ebisu, a sorcerer who might have turned Kaiman into who he is, but we don't know for sure yet. You know? So we get to see Noise Magic, and what does it do? Well, let me tell you. In a great page segment, I love this so much. The artist is so interesting, and how she approaches stuff like this. I would love to see what her inspiration for stuff is. If the artist Q ever watches this video, I would love to sit down, talk to you, figure out what influenced you. Why do you do art? Like, what's your thought process on making stuff like this? Almost like a film reel style. The montage progression of showing it. It just looks really cool. It doesn't look. It is really cool, and I'd love to see how you go across doing that. Because it also the panels get smaller. If I was doing this, they'd all be the same size probably, but it just works so well. I guess they're different sizes. These panels are smaller than these panels, and then these panels down here are so small. It just works really good. I love it. I'm gonna remember about this from the book. And in books or in art, make something that you think people are going to remember in a good way. You don't try to do something in a bad way. And the more people remember from your book, the more they're going to talk about it, the more people are going to hear about it, and the more sales you're going to get in a perfect capitalist way. Hey, you gotta keep the lights on in your studio somehow. And it turns out that noise magic can heal. She heals people, right? She turns a ripped skin face into, we get those pearly white eyes from Ebisu again, and her fingers are growing back. And so, hey, we got a healer on the team. She might be a tank, but she's also a healer, like Brigitte from Overwatch. And another great panel is I love the sorcerers live in a different world. They live in the sorcerer's world, and they go to the hole, which is where Kaiman and them live. And to get there, they have these doors, which the doors are, I think each one is specifically designed for its sorcerer. So this is a heart, TikTok, and El Corazon. Let's look up what that means, because I'm very interested. But no, I think that's a really ingenious moment or idea, is to have the doors be very, represent or be a part of what's the sorcerer using them. I think that's really cool. Let's see, what does it mean? The heart. Okay, El Corazon means the heart in Spanish. Hey, that's cool. Now I know some Spanish. Thanks, Q. I don't know. I just love stuff like that. This is a great panel. I'd love to see the original. How big do manga artists draw their work too? Do they have, because Jeff Darrow draws on those 16 by like 20 giant pieces of paper. So how big does a manga artist draw? You know? And now we're back to the hole where, turns out killing zombies is a sport. You get souvenirs, you get points for killing them. And if you get enough, well, you get prizes. And their motivation for killing this year is to get a new meat grinder so Nikaido can make dumplings for her business. She owns a restaurant, and Kaiman's her biggest supporter who doesn't pay. But no, it's just a cool moment, that I don't know. I like the gimmick. Hey, zombies come back, we kill them, you get prizes. Because I swear to God, if that was something in the real world, there would be prizes attached to it. You cannot tell me that there would not be like a redneck safari about shooting zombies and, getting all each finger you get is worth a gold star. For 10 gold stars, you get a Snickers bar or something like that. So, you know, this is cool. That I really like that it's just fun, and it's another thing I'm gonna remember. I'm glad they add stuff like that instead of just making it, oh, they have to kill the zombies. It's so scary. No, they're used to this. It's a game to them. I really like that a lot. I really like that panel of Kaiman too. She draws the artist Q draws the Kaiman so well, and I've talked about it probably in every video of it. I, I'm sure she had to study a reptile for like a week, getting all those curves, all that scales. How do the teeth work? She 10 out of 10 reptile. I think it looks amazing. It is amazing. It's great. It's a reptile. Yay. But no, and we don't have a lot of time in between. And hey, the zombies are back, and she draws some good zombies too. Not a whole lot of detail on them, but hey, you don't need a whole lot of detail on zombies. They're supposed to be shuffling masses, and I think she gets the job done here really well. So hey, if you want an easier way to do zombies, look at this book. You know, her art style is so I feel like it mixes that iconic anime look that a lot of people hate. If when I mean hate, I mean people who don't like anime or manga, and they say that style, the big eyes, the triangle faces. She mixes that stuff with a real rough sketchiness, and I think it makes it very iconic, very unique, and I feel like you can never mistake her art for someone else's art. That's what another and her character designs are always on point. You cannot say that one of her figures is going to have same face syndrome or same body syndrome. I'm sure her sketchbook is just filled with hundreds upon hundreds or even thousands of amazing illustrations of just wacky creatures that she puts in her artwork. No, and our not our villains, our cleaners. They're here to kill the lizard. That's their mission. So some great tension in this chapter alone. That something's got to happen, right? Are they going to find him? Are they going to kill him? You know, for being essentially issue 7, and we're already getting to that connection. I think that's cool. I think that's a really fast in a good way. If this was a Marvel book, they would build up to it for probably like almost a year, and then that year ends with them maybe fighting. You know what I mean? So, but no, um, I just she shows so much emotion with Shin's just mask. He might just have a pupil out, but it works. She's really good at showing emotion. And one of my favorite jokes is they go to the hole and they're so like, wait, are those zombies? Have there always been zombies here? I just find that really funny that most people would freak out. Like Fujita and Ebisu are freaking out, but these two knuckleheads are just have those always been here? And I just like that about their characters a lot. And a thing with manga I think should get addressed more is I feel like manga has some of the best character growth. If you find good manga, I'm sure there's mangas where it's horrible character growth, and that's probably every piece of media out there. But I feel like this one has superb character growth, superb characters. And if you want a really good character book where you see characters grow and develop stuff, look at it. Just read more. A lot of people discredit manga because it's black and white, it's in backwards, it's not a comic book. Shut up and read it. Because I guarantee you're gonna find something you like. I really like this book. It's really crazy. It's really zany. That's the stuff I like. If you want a good action comic or manga, look at the first volume of Dragon Ball. Not Dragon Ball Z, but Dragon Ball. It's a fun little like action adventure comic about Son Goku looking for his the a Dragon Ball. It's like it is a vintage anime. It has that vintage anime feel. If you want a cyberpunk story, look no further than Akira. So there's gonna be a manga for you. Just get off your American colored pedestal and read some. If Frank Miller can like manga, so can you. I need to make that into a print. You know, but no, they kill the zombies, they get surrounded, and hey, they make a game. Whoever can kill the most zombie wins. You know? Just another really cool character moment. As we see Kaiman and Nakaido just cleaning up over here. Great panel with Kaiman and Nakaido. Great just figure pieces too, showing off the characters. Show how big and strong they are. Because hey, there's going to be a fight pretty soon between Group A and Group B. So we got to establish that neither side are weaklings, right? That's a subtle way of like reminding the audience that, oh, both these groups are badasses, you know? So we gotta size each other up, I guess. Oh, we're almost already there. But no, as the doctor gets split from the group, he has to take the hand. What's gonna happen to him? I love the doctor. I have not finished the series yet. I think I'm on volume 9. So no spoilers. I swear to God, if someone spoils this book, you're getting brained. But I really like it. I like where it goes. When I mean, I love this character design so much. Like, it reminds me of Casey Jones. Casey Jones, my favorite Ninja Turtle character. It just looks really cool. And so just practice. Practice. If you struggle with character designs, just draw stuff in your sketchbook. That's what your sketchbook's for. Draw, draw, draw. I feel like I'm not dissecting this volume as much as I do others, but I feel like we're still learning, because some of those key elements. Draw, draw, draw. Get your character designs done. We're talking about mangas, why you should read mangas, stuff like that. So some videos fluctuate. Some videos I talk more and more about technical stuff. Some videos I, kind of, I guess maybe rant, But let me know how you feel about stuff like that. I really like looking at comments, and I respond to every comment we get, usually within the hour I get them. It is also almost 3 in the morning when I'm recording this, so I might be tired ranting, you know? Yeah, no, flip, please. But no, so, by page 34, we're already Group A and Group B are meet, and some shit's about to go down. Look at that amazing panel. It's a great 2 page, just spread of look how tough these guys are. They're in for some business, and just 2 great panels of Kaiman and Nikaido is just great figures. Great. This is part of the best 2 pages so far that I've looked at in this volume. It's just great. It really capitalizes a great comic. You know what I mean? And it, I feel like these panels are better because this one has so much detail, so much shading, and these two, I feel like if they had a non-white background, like a busy background, this panel would not be as good. So think about doing stuff like that. If these panels had that kind of background, not nearly as good. I think because of their blank background, it really adds a lot. So, just practice compositions. Think about what you can do. If you're going to do a composition, do it 5 different ways. See what works, see what doesn't. And if it takes 100 pages to get it right, it takes 100 pages to get it right. You know? And it was about to get all serious, but we end it with Ebisu gets ate by a zombie. You know? So and the doctor's fine. So, we gotta get all their bases on. Ebisu just got fixed up. Now she's gonna be undead. And good old doctor's fine. With now chapter number 8. Oh, what's my tortoise doing? Hello, tortoise. Just looking at my tortoise. He's our unofficial mascot of this channel. But now we're on chapter 8. Bloody Battle in the Central Department Store Square. What a name. But no, this is gonna be our final, or not our final, our first meetup of the characters. What's gonna happen? Is because Kaiman and Nikaido are undefeated yet. They haven't been beat by anything, and Shin and Noi, they also haven't beat by anything, and they're both established badasses. So what's gonna happen? Is one side gonna win? Is one side gonna lose? Well, I guess we gotta see and find out. With just some great just character panels. I love the range of expressions they get. Nikaido's very cautious, very cheerful, and Kaiman's just, yep, we're gonna go kill him right now, and he just goes. Like that's a great Kaiman panel, and it's just the artist does so good at showing the kind of how stocky and how big he is, and Nikaido show how just human she is. You know, and I just love that dynamic. It reminds me of the Hulk Wolverine cover. Is it Mister Fix It and Mister Cool? Is that what that cover is called? I don't know. I think it is, but they're Nikaido and Kaiman. Whenever they're together, it always reminds me of that cover. I wonder if maybe she saw that and might have thought that. Probably not, but hey, that'd be cool if it was. But no, he is already out to get her. That's a great Shin panel right there. I love a really good colored panel. And sometimes you don't have to do so much uber details in a suit like a Jeff Darrow does. Just a black suit with white outlines. Perfect. You know, just looks great. So if you're doing a black and white book and you want to do a tux, maybe look at that panel for some inspiration. It just looks really good. And then you can have really good panels like that. And they're off to the races. Kaiman with his classic knives, Shin with his classic hammer, and it's just a great 2 page spread, right? For the first time, we see Shin actually like move and kind of dodge instead of just blowing to bits everyone. And ain't fast enough though, or I should say, Kaiman's not fast enough because Shin's able to knock him down the ground and actually spill blood the first time in this entire series so far. It's taken 8, so essentially we're on issue 8, and he's finally been hurt, and it even plays it. The exclamation point, the surprise look. It's done really well there. It's awesome. That's a great little panel. It might not look like a whole lot, but it tells us a whole lot and a technical aspect. And just remember to throw stuff like that in your book. It really makes your book stand out. It really makes the reader like it. So just if a pan, and stuff like smaller stuff like Kaiman rushing, Shin dodging stuff. Little things add up to big things. I feel like manga's really good about doing those little things to add up to big things. They have limited pages, limited, color palette, and yet a good manga artist can make so much out of that limited progress, you know? So just study mangas sometimes. If you to see what you can do with black and white books, look at it. See what they do. Just it's awesome. So if Kaiman's fighting Shin, that means Nakaido is gonna fight Noi, and just another really good you know Beauty and the Beast situation. That's probably not the right thing to say, but Nakaido also hasn't been beat yet, and Noe hasn't beat yet, and we see the extent of their fight. Nakaido hits Noe once, and she starts bleeding from the inside, and Noi and her great I'm ready to fight whenever and I love it is complimenting her in an actual compliment way on oh, you made me bleed, I like you, let's be friends, with Nakaido being really scared or confused and nope, uh, she's got to kill her. So just love stuff like that. I love all the characters in this book. They're all different. They all have unique personalities, and I feel like there's gonna be a character in it everyone's gonna like. You know, and another really good fight scene with really good motion. You know, these guys are hand to hand, with kicks, punches, stuff like that, instead of like Shin and Kaiman who fight with weapons. So you're going to see a lot more motion lines. And I want to do motion lines better. That's something I always struggled with a long time ago as an artist was motion lines. So I will be looking at this 2-page spread to really get that with some really good typography right there. I love me some good typography, and that leg going up, just really good, a really good just kick, and sometimes you don't get good kicks in comics. Sometimes it looks really bad, but here I think it works really good, and I love that eye detail in the mask, all that detail in the mask too. It just looks really good and such an interesting composition. This is not a perfect line, level line. It is slanted. That one is slanted too. I just think it works really good, and I should do more of that in my artwork. I'm really bad about just doing really boring compositions. Hey, maybe after I look at this book, I'll remember to do something like that. But no, Nakaido's down for the count. She's beat, she's ragged. So that puts Kaiman in a rage. With probably my two favorite panels in the video we're going to look at today. Just great. That needs to be a t shirt right there. It, it just works really cool. Shin looks so just cool, collected. Hell, he's got one of his arms in his pocket, and Kaiman's angry, and he goes to fight, and oh no, Shin breaks one of his knives. What? Just a great like, yep, you've been beat moment. He breaks his weapon. You know, and what's more, he gets brained and starts just bleeding out so bad. With Shin, sad that this was not the fight he hoped for. This was such a pretty boring fight. Shin wants that adventure. He wants that good fight. He wants to be pushed to his limits like any classic anime character. And he really thought this would be it. But it's not done yet. Because good old Kaiman has a good old little death rattle. Sticks a knife right in his heart, right in it, and well, shoves him right in his mouth. There's some dude who lives in Kaiman's mouth, and we don't know if it's the person Kaiman was. We don't know if it's, we don't know, which is a really cool mystery part. I feel like they could have really said it really early on in the book, but kind of having that unknown works really good for it. So Shin's in there, and he naturally don't want to be in there. Man, I just love all that ink work. I love really complex ink work. And I wonder if those are just, yeah, she's just throwing dots of black ink on that. So she probably drew the figure first and then just started throwing ink on it. I love it when people do stuff like that. And probably use some whiteout for those eyes. It just works really well. But no, he's got to get out of there. So he rips the hat. He rips Kaiman's head off, since he's still got a hand. A hand on the hammer, which is real ingenious. Like when reading this for the first time, I was like, did they just kill Kaiman? Is Kaiman already dead? Because how are you supposed to survive that? You know what I mean? But no, and then seeing this panel and being like, oh my, oh, excuse me, oh my god, what's happening? What's happening? Why does he have a face? Is he gonna lose his alligator head? I didn't want that because alligator head's so freaking cool. You know, with Nakaido, she's alive. She's not down for the count yet. Is she gonna 2-on-1 this? No. What's happening with some great little close up artwork of her biting her finger off? Although that neck looks a little rough. I just noticed that, but it looks so good. The head bouncing, that's hilarious. It's such a good composition too, just being slanted like that. Like really mess with how you can do a composition. Because if you can make one look super interesting, it is amazing in my opinion. And most people aren't gonna notice a good composition unless A, they've studied that kind of stuff, or B, they're reading it multiple times and kind of comparing notes to other books. But now you don't have to do that because I'm telling you right now, it's cool how she does it, how she splits it. It's not perfectly lined up like how every American comic would be. So, like I said, just, it's interesting. I'll remember it, and I'm sure other people do too. We'll put it in our own work. People will talk about it, get more people to buy it. Boom, shada boom, and then it's a Netflix show because how much people talk about it. Moral of the story: do interesting stuff in your books. But it turns out good old Nakaido's a sorcerer, and her door is plain. It's not designed. It's not anything. So I'm curious to see how why that is. With you know, Noi and Shin kind of at a loss for words. They kind of realized they didn't beat him, but they got to get Shin out of there because he's still got a knife in his heart with Ebisu trying to eat him. Because remember, she's a zombie now, which one of my favorite jokes from this volume is, yep, she got bit by a zombie. She's gonna act like a zombie. So I just think that's pretty cool. But no, with a good old doctor, I'm sure that's part of it. The doctor was somewhere else, so he could find Nakaido and Kaiman pretty quick. And with him seeing a door too, so her secret's probably out. But what's gonna happen? What's going on with Kaiman as we're doing that cliche? We're not gonna show what happened. He's fine. He got his head back. But what? How? What did it grow back? Did they staple it back on? Nope. They established that it just grew back. So something's going on, right? As Nakaido worries what's gonna happen to her and Kaiman, because the doctor straight up tells him she's a sorcerer, but he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe it at all. He thinks it's a joke. But so their friendship is safe for now, with kind of a cute little ending. Kaiman telling, kind of friends keep their promises no matter what, right? And Nakaido saying yes. And, their promise to each other is they're going to find out who did this to Kaiman, kill all the sorcerers. So, hey, another added bit of tension for this book is, oh, what's going to happen between the main characters, And that's just a good way to do books, I think. Have something that kind of don't, throw it on like three-fourths of the way through the book, right? They're doing this really early on so they can build on it. Don't make on book 9 of a 10-issue series that one of your main characters turns out to be a spy and their intentions were their long lost sister is a part of that evil kingdom or whatever. And Kaiman's head's in a bag. They find Kaiman's head. So what a cool way to end the book. They always do some kind of punchline to end the book. And that is what we're going to look at today. Next Monday, we'll be looking at Spell 9 and Spell 10. But nope, that is Dorohedoro Volume 2 for right now. I hope you liked it. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you. That really helps us out. It keeps the algorithm pumping these videos out to more and more people who like this style of content. And if you haven't yet, hit that bell, hit that notification bar, subscribe and like so you can keep up to date with the most up-and-coming comic book YouTube channel in the South, where we keep it real, y'all. So I guess I'm going to send down some marching orders, and I'm out of here. make